Welcome to another event for Mobile Monday, Silicon Valley. I think there may be more people than there are seats, so if you can grab a seat, that'd be good. Tonight we're going to talk about mobile in your business, and we have a great lineup of companies talking about how mobile has helped their business, how they're strategizing for that. Tonight's sponsor is Appcelerator. So, where's Appcelerator? You guys in the house? Give him a hand. And later on tonight, I think Scott's going to talk about what Appcelerator does and all the cool products that they have. But a little bit about me. So, I'm Mario Tapia. I work at GetJar. This is kind of direct Mobile Monday here in Silicon Valley. We've been doing this for about 11 years. We're all nonprofit volunteers, so none of us get paid, but we like to do these great events and work with great sponsors in the Valley to bring this type of content and also this education that we do. So what is Mobile Monday? Mobile Monday, we're a large community of developers and entrepreneurs, such folks in the mobile industry business, and we've been getting together for about 11 years now around the world, and we've grown. Well, yeah, we've grown quite a bit, over 100 different cities. But pretty much our objectives are pretty, very open, encouraging innovation through the mobile industry, networking. We provide a lot of education, also present companies that are trending, also trying to share information about our industry. Because about 10 years ago, there weren't too many people in the mobile internet business as there. It seems like the whole internet business is mobile. But isn't that true, guys? So, when was the last time you heard Web 2.0? Yeah, exactly. So to facilitate and also different partnerships. So you guys might be in the same space. You're not really competitors because this space is still pretty small and growing. There's a lot of there's enough for everybody. And so definitely if you're competing with competing companies, it's good to come here and network and to know who's in this industry. But it also contributes to education. I think Mobile Mondays have been mostly about education to the community about mobile technologies since the start. So it's kind of an international overview. We kind of have a big thing. We're in all the different continents. We're over 100 different cities. And most major US cities actually have a Mobile Monday happening. Probably tonight there's a couple. I know Sao Paulo's having one tonight. But here's the big list, right? Here's where all the different cities that get together at least once a month, and the U.S. cities are kind of involved. So Austin's got a lot of gaming. Boston is very similar to Silicon Valley, a lot of tech. Dallas, same thing, tech. Denver, a lot of technology, if you wouldn't believe. New York, a lot of media, advertising. Seattle, same thing. We've got the operators there, T-Mobile and AT&T. Silicon Valley, well, we're just the center of the universe, right? And then Washington, D.C., where a lot of politics is happening. So we're nonprofit, 501c6 nonprofit. Well, say that fast 3 times. And we're in Austin, Boston, Dallas, Denver, New York, Silicon Valley, Washington, D.C. So definitely a lot of other cities, a lot of folks getting together to discuss the same issues. We look at Mobile Mondays from the sponsorship perspective. We have a lot of developers. You get exposure to the industry members. We're about 5,000, just counted the other day. How many people, uniques, we were in Silicon Valley? There's about 5,000 people. We're probably the largest tech meetup in the Valley. We have a lot of VCs registered, but also it's a great place for networking, meeting entrepreneurs, and then there's media. Here are the group stats, so definitely a lot of biz dev, sales folks, product marketing, developers, but then also peppered with VC, media, and designers. Who are the designers in here? There's a few designers, yeah, cool. And this is kind of just one of the sample events that we do. And I'm going to take you to slides here. Had the wrong presentation up. There we go. to some of our previous sponsors. So I did a survey when you guys registered, and we've kind of been doing this every month, as most of you guys know, and I've been targeting like which phones do you use. And here's the list. Here's Windows Phone. Like 26 of you guys. Okay, who's got the Windows Phone today? Hey, who's got the new Nokia one? We got the new Nokia one? Oh. Okay, who's got an iPhone? Yeah. Most of the room. Androiders, come on. Yeah. Open source, yes. And RIM, BlackBerry folks. Got it. Feel like the chemical.
There's no shame.
Symbian for the Nokia people. Come on, Symbian. Diehards, all right. And Palm, all right. Go West guys. Okay, don't be shamed. Don't be shy. So, also asked, what's your role? So, and I showed you one of the slides before. A few developers, about 112, 149 registered as product and marketing. 198 as business development. Wow, we becoming one of those kind of groups. Everyone's business development. And then we have a few VCs. We got money and media and journalists, and also we got more designers in the house, which is great. I also asked, if it's your first time attendee. This is it's interesting. It's like 300 guys said no, but 200 plus said yeah. So wow, so this is your first time coming. Which is great. I mean, I think about half the audience per month is new, and it goes to show that our industry is definitely growing. Definitely the size, like I said, we're up over 5,000. It's grown over the past year. It's doubled. I asked why you guys are attending, and it's really to networking with industry colleagues, want to learn more education, which we're definitely about, and also looking for a job. We are a community, and we definitely. I bet everyone here is probably hiring somebody, right? Definitely engineers. Also, I asked, what platforms do you support? The Android and iOS, always, going at it. It'll be interesting to see in the future what that turns out to be. Windows Phone, about 59 folks. HTML5 for mobile web, doing pretty good. Then followed up by RIM, Symbian, and WebOS. If you could build apps for only one platform, what would it be? Is the question we asked. And a good portion of you guys said HTML5 web app. Majority of you said iOS, and then last came over here Android. And this is like what app stores would you push to. And so you have GetJar, Android Market, and also Amazon. It's kind of interesting to see how the third-party app stores are playing into this ecosystem. What kinds of topics would you like to hear more of? And I think we are addressing this. So technical APIs on the far left. So a lot of you guys still want technical stuff, code up on the wall. We have a history of doing that in the past when we were first starting out, doing these type of events. The largest one is definitely you guys want to figure out how to monetize, right? And I think it has a lot to do with I built my iOS, I built my Android, and now how do I make money off of this? And I think a lot of you guys are in that phase of it's not longer about the technology of what platform to build to. I think you guys are more sophisticated now to figure out how to monetize on this. You guys are also interested in demo nights and also mixers. So definitely we're working on the demo nights and the mixers. We also have a kind of social chair that will work on that. So a little bit about what kind of events do we do. Every other month we do a CXO dinner. And this is pretty much a VIP, invite-only event. We work with, typically it's like VCs are sponsoring, it's just large companies. And they want to meet some of the executives in the Valley. So we put this together every other month. A new thing is Mobile Monday Labs. So this is definitely focused on developers. It's about 50 guys max in a room, diving deep into kind of a mini hack day. So diving deep into the code, doing work examples. For example, with ad platforms, it's integrating the SDK into your native apps and mobile web, and then troubleshooting it and getting it to work with their ad APIs. So we have a lot of stuff in the pipeline lined up for 2012. So this is kind of another event that we do. Team's made up of I and Mario, and we have Jose. Jose's taking pictures out here. We have Jeremiah Gilliman over here. We have Daniel Odio, Socialize, over here. We have Artie Merritt. I don't know if Artie's still here tonight. Okay. Turner. We have John Lynn, ZTE, who's on camera over here. We also have Brandon Brian. I think most of you guys met Brandon. Are you here? Yeah, Brandon's over here helping with our organizing volunteer staff. So that's kind of it with the presentation. I'd like to introduce Scott with Appcelerator. You want to do the presentation first, or you want the panelists to come up?
Desktop was a lot busier when we first started this. Stacks on stacks of icons there. So, welcome everyone. All right, this is going to be a lively interactive session. Are those bleachers back there? Can we host a basketball game after this? It kind of looks like that, you know. Yeah, I'm looking for the rafters here from the basketball. All right, hi, my name is Scott Schwarzhoff. I run Dev Relations and Marketing at Appcelerator. I'll talk to you about that here in a second. We have great group of folks here tonight, and you know that bucket that had, I think it was 375 responses about making money, monetization, marketing. You know, one of the things that at our company that we see just every day is just, you know, there's just this, as we shift from the web to mobile, there's just this sort of thirst for knowledge about best practices. How are other people doing it? How are we sort of learning as a collective body here about what it means to go from web to mobile? And that overarchingly is what we're going to be talking about with the panelists today. I am going to do just a quick little brief on Appcelerator here for the first bit. I guess I'm serving two roles. One is the shameless sponsor, so I will serve that role briefly, and then I will turn my hat around and we'll be stepping into our panel discussion today. You know, so we have a couple of really successful consumer-facing businesses here on our panel. We also have Barnes & Noble team, so the Nook guys have been busy today launching a brand new product. Then we also have AppCentral here with us, so a nice business to enterprise example. And this is all deliberate. This is to give you a nice cross-section of businesses that are you know, really scaling their business well, and I think serve as excellent role models for us as we all try to you know, figure out the space together. So real quick here, let me get to full screen. See how this works. Building your business on mobile, so that's certainly why we're all here. Real quick, I'm just going to run through a couple slides about us, and then we'll dive into the meat. So Appcelerator, some of you may be familiar with what we do. We are a mobile development platform. We are open source based, so actually today, if you went to Appcelerator.com, you could download our SDK, and if you know web languages, if you know HTML5, JavaScript, CSS, you can actually start building an app literally this evening, and you can be publishing it on Ted's Nook App Store tomorrow. So that's basically what we do. We're a mobile platform. So today we actually have 30,000 mobile applications built using our technology. That would put us as the #1 application platform on the iOS and Android App Store. So if some of you have downloaded GetClue, if you've downloaded Wunderlist, if you've tried out the NBC iPad application, if you've ever tried using the Zipcar app and many others like it, those are all titanium-powered applications. These are applications written in web languages and compiled directly into native code. We're on 30 million unique devices. We have about 225,000 mobile developers using our software today, about 1,000 customers, and just raised our the last round of funding last week, and it was burning a hole in our pockets, so we decided to sponsor this event. Mayfield, Red Hat, eBay, and others backing our technology. You can certainly pick up more information about us on Gartner, recently the Mobile Consumer Application Platform, the MCAP, as it were, and then on a quarterly basis we actually do a free report with our counterparts over at IDC. We write a mobile developer survey, sort of take a pulse of the trends in the industry. So actually, next week we'll be releasing our Q4 version of that. But that's enough about Appcelerator. So in terms of sort of, and this is really teeing up the panel here, and sort of why you're all here. I think, first off, what I want to do is sort of frame the conversation and sort of frame the discussion that we're going to have. And as I look at it, there are basically two fundamental questions. As we think about mobile, and as we think about going from the web to mobile, I think the first question that we have to address is, of course, fundamentally, what is it about mobile that's adding value to my customer relationships? How does it change the fundamental nature of the relationship that I have as a business with my customer? And everyone on the panel has, war stories in spades about this, and so we're going to talk about that. And then secondly, once I've figured that out, how do I scale? Like if I was to think about it today and think about, there's so much fragmentation in mobile, there's so many different opportunities, how do I build a sustainable mobile business? And those are the two problem sets that actually we work with our customers on a day-in and day-out basis, and that we're sharing with our panelists today. Just to frame the conversation, this is something, oh wow, sort of like the beam of light, it's nice, thanks. Frame the conversation on that first question, how can mobile add value to my customer relationships? At Appcelerator, every day we're just seeing literally thousands of developers trying to get their head around what it means to be mobile. And so we kind of put together this like really simple, easy to understand sort of checklist, if you will, of understanding the value that mobile brings to our business. And really, I think every single business that starts in mobile thinks about their objectives in at least one of four ways, right? How do I reach new customers, right? If I'm going from the web to mobile, obviously it's, I want to be on all these devices that we're carrying around. How do I deepen my engagement? Drive loyalty? Certainly, it's expensive to get someone using your app the first time, so we want to keep them coming back. And actually, we have PunchTab on the panel today. We've built a business specifically just on driving loyalty, and they'll be sharing stories there. And of course, how do I make money? Monetization. Just a couple more things here on this. So we've got, obviously 260, if we think about each of these categories, there's, 260 million mobile devices out there with, Android, iOS, a lot more that support like HTML5. As we think about engagement, and these are all things that we're going to be stepping through on the panel. It's all about the user experience. It's all about being contextual. It's all about, social, right? And so that sort of deepens the engagement. Again, this is just a checklist of things that I think about and that we think about at our company that we typically walk through with new customers. They're trying to figure out, how to model their way into mobile. Loyalty, this is Scout Mob, but we'll be spending some time here with PunchTab on thinking about what loyalty means. And one of the underappreciated elements around loyalty is around analytics. And so we'll be talking about that and sort of measurement, iteration, and improvement within analytics. And finally, monetization. So here's Hotel Tonight. Hotel Tonight is here with us tonight. And so we'll be talking about monetization models as well. So last slide before I get into this, customer examples sort of bring this home. And sort of as you think about sort of building your business and sort of thinking about the various stages that your business grows through. One of the customers that we have with Appcelerator that we work a lot with is NBC. And so with NBC, it's a really good example of how we think about that fundamental transformation of your customer relationship over a period of time. This is a customer that we've been working with. This is the NBC.com team. So if you've ever been to NBC.com, ever watched The Office, streaming online, what have you, that's this digital team. And we've been working with them for about 16 months. And I think it's a good example of like where most of us are. And I think you'll identify at least one point in time on where customers are or where your business is today at mobile on this sort of maturation life cycle, if you will. So the left application, Jay Leno's Garage, real simple app. It's basically nothing more than a video feed of Jay's cars in his garage in an app. Doesn't sound like very much, but it got him familiar with mobile. It got him into understanding what it means to go mobile from the web, and it got him familiar with the space. So it was an important first step for them. It's funny, but a lot of developers today have these ideas, and they start, they'll download our SDK, they'll create a wedding app for their buddy's wedding on like a Saturday. Like, we'll get this all the time, and then they'll show up on Monday, and they'll be like, I can do it. I can actually be in mobile. And so for us, everyone's got their Jay Leno's Garage app, the app that you start with. Then from there, they moved on to Jimmy Fallon. And this is an app that he actually has on his show, and he has like episodic content. It's really cool. He's got like these little Jimmy's games that he punches in his app and he distributes, and he has, you know, contests like dress like a Saved by the Bell character, and you know, and he'll feature that on the show, and it's cool, right? It's engaging, and that deepens that engagement. But here's the catch. Here's the thing, and sort of the point that we'll switch into the panel, and I'll move away from the Appcelerator plugs, is that the MVC iPad application was a watershed moment from it. They went from these individual applications that they were realizing just were moving the needle, but not as much as they wanted to. And they moved to this MVC iPad application. You can all download it. It hit #1 in the App Store last month. And the real kicker is that this MVC app leverages everything that Jimmy Fallon and Jay Leno built in terms of knowledge of the experience that they wanted to build, and in terms of the overall infrastructure that they're actually using to build that app. And so every single service, from photos to blogs to Omniture for analytics to the native UI elements to even location to social, all of those were pieces that were created inside these Jay Leno and Jimmy Fallon apps, and all of those are architectural elements that are reused inside the MVC app. And so my point is simply this: if you can get to a point, and this is for some of the bigger companies out there, where you're thinking less about the plumbing, less about like the features that you have to add to your app, and more about the user experience that you want to drive, then you can do a heck of a good job building that next generation mobile experience, and that's exactly where this customer came. Okay, that's it for the case study stuff. Let's switch into the panel here, and that's a tee up here. Let's get past this. All right, so joining me here this evening, we have Sam Shank from Hotel Tonight. So actually, Hotel Tonight was on a similar panel with us last month. So welcome, Sam. And they have a fantastic application. You know, basically getting right up to 1 million downloads here. I'll have him introduce himself in a second. PunchTab, Ranjith from PunchTab. Ted Patrick from Barnes & Noble, so a very busy guy today with their new Nook announcement. And Ken Singer from AppCentral, so we've got a nice eclectic mix here. So we have each of you guys introduce yourself, and then we'll dive into the meat. So Sam, take it away, and hopefully your microphone's working there.
Hi, Sam Shank, CEO of Hotel Tonight. We're an app for same-day hotel bookings. We work with hotels to provide deals up to 70% off. They give us rooms that would otherwise not sell, and we put them on the app and give them to you at a big discount. So we're in 27 cities now. We launched in February and growing like a weed. Look forward to telling more.
And you got that 4.6 rating in the App Store. We're going to come back to that.
I didn't know. Okay, you got the whole slide up. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we target impulse bookers. So every day at noon, we have 3 deals in each of our cities that go on sale, and those deals are in 3 different categories. We've got a hip hotel, we've got a basic hotel, we've got an elegant hotel, something for everybody. And we target these impulse bookers, is what we've called them, with these impulse rates. So these are people that didn't necessarily think they were going to buy a hotel that day. They woke up, maybe they had a last-minute business meeting, maybe they decided they had an anniversary, they wanted to splurge on a night out of town, maybe they had too much to drink, or maybe they want to have too much to drink. So for whatever reason, they decide they need a hotel. A lot of the times, the option is for them to drive home or to not stay in a hotel at all. But if we present with them the right deal, which is a combination of a great rate and merchandised well at a great hotel, then we can convince them to get into a hotel room. And that's great for the hotel because we're not cannibalizing their advanced purchase bookings, but we're just bringing them a new customer. And in fact, about 91% of the people that we put into these hotels have never been to the hotels before. So we're definitely not cannibalizing it. In fact, it's a marketing channel. It's the way the hotels see it. We have a 4.6 rating in the App Store. We work very hard to achieve that rating. We can talk more about what we do actually to get there. It's a combination of product quality and then a lot of legwork behind the scenes. And we pull it all off with a great sales team that works directly with 650 hotels to negotiate these deals on a nightly basis. It's 3 hotels times 27. Every day at noon we have a whole nother set of sales to bring to the world. So it's a lot of work behind the scenes. But the consumers love us and hotels love us. We haven't had a single hotel that said they don't want to work with us anymore. So, and we've got a great development team to pull it all off too. So,
great.
I'll hand it off then.
Okay. All right. And there we are. Reggie.
Kumaran, founder CEO of PunchTab, and I'm actually here tonight with my co-founder Mehdi and Robin, who heads up social media for us. You can find them both after the event. I'll be sticking around as well. This is my second startup, PunchTab, and the first one was a company called It, which I started 6.5, 7 years ago, and that's grown into 22 million registered users and about 500,000 paid subscribers. And the reason we started PunchTab, it was early at UCSF as well, was along that journey we learned that repeat engagement and top of mind and mind share were key to driving monetization. So we ran a lot of experiments about how you get people coming back to the site or back to our apps and using it and consuming it. And it just fell out of that if you can get a person back twice as much, you can monetize 3 to 4x. And that's where PunchTab started. Was we were kicking around an idea at UCSF called the Frequent Filer Program. If you don't know what UCSF does, you deliver files and sign files with e-signatures, so we're going to call it the Frequent Filer Program. And what that did was every time you sent a file or engaged with us, you would get some sort of currency, virtual currency, that you could cash in for upgrades and swag and whatnot. Nobody on the tech team wanted to build it because it sounded crazy, so I started showing it to a few startup buddies of mine and a few brands as well, and the rest is history. We launched PunchTab in, I guess we came out of beta in March. Since then we've had 3,000, we've powered 3,000 different social powered loyalty programs that reach about 7.5 million people a month. And we've just been dragged into mobile over the last few months by these 2,000 publishers that say, great, we like what you do online, help us take it offline as well.
Great, thanks, Ranjith. All right, excellent. And Ted from Barnes & Noble, you've been busy today.
It has been a very long day. My name is Ted Patrick. I am a technical evangelist with Barnes & Noble. And I work with about 400 engineers down in Palo Alto who build, design hardware and software that represents the Nook product line. We started Nook as a business, as a startup in Silicon Valley, away from our headquarters in New York, to sort of basically build a content business for our existing customer base. Barnes & Noble has 65 million customers physically enter a Barnes & Noble store every year. That's not click-throughs, that's walk-throughs. And those customers walk through as frequently as every week. And in many cases, they want to get an e-reader. They want to purchase content not just physically, but digitally. And they want to be able to engage on a device as if it was a physical Barnes & Noble store. So we view the device as a store in the consumer's pocket, and we've been working to kind of build that out. But our existing business, we have 1,400 stores in the United States. 700 are college bookstores. We have 2 million ebook titles, and we sell quite a few books every year. But we've been on a massive transition to digitize that and kind of provide a set of really great devices. And today, we actually announced a new product, which is Nook Tablet. The launch was in New York. We have been running press, PRs, and interviews just about all day. The device is about 5 times more powerful than the device on the right. I particularly work on a platform, on the apps platform for the device, and we've been doing phenomenally well. 7 million downloads and thousands of apps, and consumers love it. So.
Yeah, we'll come back to your sweet spot here, Ted, here in a second. All right, Ken from AppCentral from our so sort of shifting here a little bit to enterprise.
Great. So my name is Ken Singer. I'm the CEO and co-founder of AppCentral, and just basically what we've done is brought consumerization to IT, allowed employees to download internal applications through a self-service app store. So effectively, the concept of an iTunes store for just your enterprise applications. And we're available on iOS as well as Android, and if you have a BlackBerry device, we support you as well, but you have to go through a web interface rather than on device because it's a pain in the ass if you're going to try to develop for a BlackBerry, as you probably all know. Not that I'm sure BlackBerry's actually in the room. So, We also have a technology called App Guardian, and when you deploy an application in the enterprise, it's a bit different from the consumer side. Enterprise needs to know who has what application, what version that they have. If that person were to leave the company and take their own device with them, you need a way to get rid of that application that's on that person's device, as well as the data that's associated with your company. So they need all of that, what we call mobile app lifecycle management or mobile app management. Companies need those kinds of assurances if they're going to put applications onto your mobile devices. So we help them manage through all of those things and be able to adopt this whole new trend of consumerization of IT, where you're allowed to bring in your own device. I think you had me put up some slides about where we came from.
We'll get it. Yep.
Great.
So, we'll definitely get it. All right. Excellent. All right, great. Okay, so, for us to move forward here and talk about sort of building your business, I think what we'd like to do is sort of start at the beginning here, in the inception of the idea. And there's a lot of sort of learnings, as you've probably heard. The businesses here, these are serial entrepreneurs, and they've learned something from the prior experiences that they've had. So I wanted to actually back the card up a little bit for each of these companies and talk about that initial idea that you had, and sort of, thinking about it more than just an app and about a business. And so we're going to actually start here with Sam. And Sam initially actually sent me his 50-page business plan and his slide deck and everything. And I said, no. I want you to actually back the card up and start with something really, really simple. And so Sam actually said, all right, fine, then what I'll do is I'll send you my whiteboard shot from the initial time that we were thinking about Hotel Tonight. So all of that fancy stuff that Sam just talked you through, it started on this whiteboard, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's from our old office in San Mateo when we were 3 people last summer, so 15 months ago. And I ripped it off the wall, and it's still in the office in San Francisco now. So the background for Hotel Tonight is that we had my second startup. It was called Dealbase.com. It's still around. It's a deal search engine, web-based. We got that to be profitable, and I was thinking about how do we take advantage of mobile? How do we do something interesting in mobile? And came to the idea, well, what does mobile do better in hotel and in hotel deals? Well, it works really well if you need a hotel deal last minute. And when you don't have a computer and you don't want to pull a computer out. So we started thinking about what are the key qualities of one of the ultimate last minute booking solution. Well, it's going to have great deals, it's going to have great merchandising, it's going to be really simple to use, and it's going to be, then we focus really on the simplicity. It's going to be super simple to use, and how can we make it as simple as possible? And that's where you see the sort of 4 screens up here, where it geo-targets, it shows you the deals near you, and then you can see a selection of deals, and then you tap to book. I don't know, this is sort of degrading in terms of my presentation here, but there's actually a sober game, if you see in the middle there, that I wanted to make sure that people were sort of like Google goggles to make sure that people were sober enough to check into the hotel. That didn't make the final cut, but
I haven't seen that card in there.
Yeah, you might not have been.
That's the hidden Easter egg, is that right?
Yeah, that's the Easter egg, yeah. Maybe we'll fit that into the next release. But actually there's something in there on the new release that's coming out soon that's maybe along those lines. But in any event, we started with a very simple idea, and we then worked really hard to build an app and the entire back end to support this vision of 3 taps or 4 taps to make a hotel booking. And we built an online travel agency, and the first 100% mobile online travel agency. So an online travel agency, some of them you might know, like Priceline or Expedia or Hotels.com. We built something that's exactly the same as that from the ground up in 2.5 months. The entire back end is in Rails. There's a lot behind the scenes. Probably about 75% of the code is behind the scenes. And then on the front end, we built an iOS app using Appcelerator, which worked really well for our needs and the team's backgrounds in web development and our need to get to market really quickly.
So you have an army of 20, 30, 40 developers, right?
Right. We had one guy, 1.4 or something like that. We had a contractor. But it was, until February, it was 3 people at the company. One of the things we did was we wanted to have very good support. If somebody sends an email and says, I'm having trouble checking into my hotel, we can't just say, oh, no problem, we'll get back to you in the morning. You know, we have to take care of it then. Even if we do bookings until 2 in the morning. So sometimes we were getting phone calls at 2 in the morning. And that phone call on Saturdays would go to me. On Sundays it would go to Jared. On Mondays it would go to Chris. On Tuesdays it would go to me. So we were very happy to raise our Series A and hire a support team. But we come from very scrappy beginnings. You know, this is sort of in the culture of the organization still that we just make things happen with limited resources, and we work really quickly and scrappily to get it done. And that was certainly at the beginning, in the infancy of the company. That's how we acted and got it done.
All right, excellent. Okay, Ranjith now. Ranjith, I asked him for his latest boardroom shot. I thought that would be interesting. And he responded back with something a little bit different. And so, clearly, and I don't know, is this your board here? Oh, excellent. All right, so he's got, that's a different mask. Is that, yeah.
Yeah, orange is my favorite color.
Okay, yeah. It's autumnal. Scary, if you will. All right.
Yeah, I guess I'll take a different tack than was discussed before. This is my second company, and half the reason I started was to have fun with it and surround myself with the right people that are in it for the right reasons. And coincidentally, everyone at PunchTab is on customer support every day. We actually decided not to hire a support team, and everyone actually in the company rotates that support team. So I guess that's a power tip here from two entrepreneurs that have built companies that customer service should come first. But the history of the company is all about, as I said, the lessons we learned from an online company, and when the wave of mobile apps started while I was doing Extended, and we quickly moved into mobile applications as well. And I think that the one thing I learned was it's all about mobile use cases and ease of use that should guide the product, and that's really what led us to PunchTab. We saw a lot of mobile developers have challenges distributing their applications and getting repeat usage, which ultimately led to monetization. And that's really the gist of PunchTab for mobile is how do you get repeat engagement in your mobile app, how do you connect the online world to the offline world. And we just went live with that in the last couple of months, so it's still in beta, but if any of you want to get it from us. Oh, by the way, I just got a text from Robin, who's our social media person, saying, please follow us, we're at PunchTab. You can get early access to all of this stuff. She hustles. And
the irony here is that we're going to show up in the Facebook pictures, and no one's going to know who you are. The rest of us.
That's what I said. We like to keep the element of surprise. If you want to ask me a question later, you probably won't be able to recognize me.
That's right.
So I'll be going.
It's a little hard to take you a little seriously here. All right.
Don't worry, this thing gets warm.
Exactly, it's like steaming over. It passes out. All right, Ted, on a slightly more serious note. So one of the
I didn't bring my wrestling.
I'm quickly getting out of the zone here on my whole pacing. Thanks, Ranjith. So one of the interesting things here with Barnes & Noble is, everyone, we talk about the differences between iOS and Android and so forth, and we've certainly heard the monetization challenges that Android has. And I think it's really interesting here to hear from Ted about their audience, and there's a uniqueness in the audience that I think in their target consumer that I think is good for you guys to understand, because it's different. It is a fundamentally different class of consumer and audience. And I think it's really good to sort of understand from Ted's perspective who that person is and how you guys can sort of jump into this opportunity. So I don't have nearly funny a slide here. I think, Barnes & Noble, publicly traded corporation, so we have a few limitations, but it is certainly colorful. So Ted, with that there, I'm certainly interested in your target audience here.
Well, I mean, the target audience for our market is really atechnical, and you got to take that with a grain of salt. So customers have been walking into a Barnes & Noble store for an awfully long time. We've been in the content business for 50 plus years, and what's unique about our business is that customers walk in and they pay for content, and they're it's like my dad. He walks into the store, he buys a hardback book, a cup of coffee, he goes home happy. No big deal. But he's buying an e-reader now and taking that buying habit onto the device. And you can buy an awful lot of e-books and apps and games for the same amount of money that you were paying for physical books. But the really weird part is, once he gets a device, he actually buys about 40% more content. And he begins to choose which type of content he wants to buy and where he wants to put it. So he might go in and buy an autobiography, and he may put it on a shelf. He may still remain buying physical books. but he chooses to buy digital books to fit his kind of pattern of life. The interesting thing about our device is today no color skews female to the market demographic of 70%. Most devices actually skew male. And we believe it's because the bookstore is actually on a life path of the things that folks do on a regular basis. It's a destination for many Americans. And that audience can be technical, but by majority, they're atechnical. They don't have smartphones, they have feature phones. Typically, a Nook is the first device they've actually ever owned, and probably the first app experience they've ever had. And they want the physical comfort of being able to walk into a store and have an individual who's at the counter to be able to fix their device if things go awry or answer questions. And so, if you think about the market for this stuff, as a technologist, you'd think, well, everything's going to go technical. But the demographic of real human beings isn't changing that fast. And if you think about it, there's a slice that's technical, and they get it, and they can easily adopt and buy a device, and be supported online. But for many customers, and we believe the majority, they actually need to have a physical person to go into store and talk to, and to support them in their purchasing habits. And they're buying stuff that's fun to play and fun to use. It's not hugely technical titles, but it's titles that help them be more social and interact with others. It's kids' books, it's games, it's puzzles. It's the things that our demographic just loves. Reading-centric. But developers who've been building those apps have been extremely successful with that focus.
So you would say that you sort of support the other 99% of Americans.
I wouldn't put it that high. From a technical perspective, we tend to not see or understand the lifestyle of an atechnical market and how they view the world. And understanding that, going and working in a Barnes & Noble store and answering questions is a hugely enlightening thing. It changes your perspective about the audience you're dealing with and how real customers relate to technology and what they actually want.
So as you pointed out, big opportunity for developers here, right? Very, very big opportunity.
Yeah, from a developer point of view, just quickly, developers, top apps are having $100,000 months on our service, servicing real consumers.
Yeah, so to recap that point, if you don't pick up anything from this slide, it's that point right there. Right? So, okay, all right, good. Okay, excellent. Thanks, Ted. All right, okay, and Ken. So Ken, enterprise-focused product, but that's not how you guys started, right?
Yeah, we actually started out as a developer. We were building applications for Anheuser-Busch. Actually, they were our top customer, and I tell this to everyone, if you ever get a chance to work for a beer company, especially in their marketing department, I highly encourage you to do that, because they actually do pay you in beer. That is a true fact. They deliver it at Christmas and when you're done with your project. It's Budweiser, but it's still beer. So just to caveat that for a second. And we got a chance to work on some really cool applications. I feel like I should wear the mask as like a speaking conch or something. No, I'm just kidding. But anything from, they had this Bud Bowl thing that they do every once in a while, and we got to build a game that allowed you to, the paper football game, and we digitized it. And then they wanted a bar finder application, which you would think would be kind of dumb because, who needs to know where a bar is if you just turn around, there's a bar, right? But apparently they get calls all the time asking about where the bar is because there's an 800 number on these cans. So you'd be amazed what they get requests for. And then we built them a spin the bottle application, which was kind of controversial when we were working with them, and they were legal, had a hissy fit because it would spin the bottle. And the way we pitched that was, it's to figure out who has to pay the beer tab, right? So that flew.
No other use cases to define?
Yeah. So actually the middle use case turned out to be the beginning of what we do today, because that beer finder, that bar finder application, which, Anheuser-Busch distributes over 240 different beers, and they're not all available in every bar because it turns out the alcohol content dictates whether it can be distributed in certain states or counties. And so this bar finder actually turned out to be quite an important thing for the sales teams at Anheuser-Busch, because they needed to know which bars they could go in and sell which beers. So they called us and said, hey, we understand you guys have a bar finder. We'd like you guys to build something similar to us. And we think, well, you guys sell the beer, shouldn't you know where those bars are? And that shouldn't be something new. We said, no, you don't understand. We need this information at real time because we change out which beers we distribute, so it'll be new information for us. So we built this application that integrated with their back end to give them information about where they could sell their beer. And the other thing about beer companies is that they've got a lot of money. So when they have a project for you, just take it. And they loved our application, and they said, Ken, how do we distribute this application? You built it for BlackBerry, and we need a way to distribute it. We said, you have a bed server, that's what it's for. You just use it to push it out to your employees. And they said, no, you don't understand. In beer, we're not actually legally allowed to walk into many of these bars because of prohibition laws. The brewery is not allowed to walk in as a sales guy. Certainly if you're going to buy a drink, yes, but not as a sales guy. So they have to go through wholesalers who do billions of dollars worth of sales for them. They don't know who they are, what their phone numbers are, or what devices that they carry. So we said yes to this project as they threw a whole bunch of money at us to build a system to do that. And this was about 2.5 years ago. So this was before, right at the iPhone coming of age, right? You couldn't even distribute an enterprise app to iPhones. This was purely a BlackBerry play. And what we didn't know at the time was that with the iPhone, the advent of the iPhone, people were going to start bringing in their own devices. And this whole model where companies don't know who has what phone, where, what their phone numbers are. This was going to start happening, and it was going to become the majority of the population. And so over the course of the last few years, what started out as a project for a beer company has turned into now the most established and I think most successful so far enterprise app store for companies to distribute internal applications to their employees. And we kind of laughed about it at the beginning, going, who's going to need an app store to deliver beer applications to their employees? But we get calls every day. We work with Appcelerator. They get calls from their customers needing this functionality. And it's more than just distributing an application, because we've spent the last 15, 20 years turning everything into a web accessible website. And so a lot of you guys as engineers think about just building something, putting it on a server. If something goes wrong, you can just update it, and the next time someone touches it, it's going to be refreshed. When you do a downloadable application, that's not the case. You now have versions of this app floating around on different versions of devices. And so companies need to know, they need a homing device essentially on these applications to know where they are, what versions are out there, and what level of support they owe you. Right? Because you may have downloaded an app from some developer internally, but it wasn't approved. Should support pay for the support calls that you might be generating? So we provide all of that intelligence so that you guys can continue to innovate your applications and get an enterprise audience to sell to, because I assure you they will pay you more than zero, which a lot of consumers will pay you. These enterprises will pay upwards of hundreds of dollars per download or more, depending on how interesting or important that application is to their business.
Yeah, so I definitely encourage them, if you're thinking about selling to the enterprise, definitely look up Ken afterwards here. I mean, this is, what's so fascinating about this story is we all hear about the consumerization of IT. This is literally the consumerization of IT, right? In a nutshell. And so I think it's just a great example. So, all right, so let's get into engagement, right? So we're going to talk about engagement loyalty. So the heart, the crux of the application and the business experience. You've got serial entrepreneurs here, and someone's very old alarm clock. And so I'd like to, start off here with Sam. 4.6 rating, right? So does it just naturally happens that way? I mean, you build an app and that's it. I mean, I want you guys to each sort of talk about how you think about that experience, how you test it, and how you make sure it's really rock solid and refined, so that you guys can, be the hit that you are.
Yeah, I think that's one of the key takeaways here is that consumer experience in apps is, I think, an order of magnitude higher than what the expectations are for somebody going to a website. So you've got one chance, somebody's downloaded the app, they've invested time in downloading it, you need to make sure to deliver on that experience. So one of the things that we learned early on is that we show 3 deals every night in every city. We make that very clear in the App Store. But we had people that would give us really bad reviews because they said that, why don't you have all the hotels? And we said, well, that's not what we do. If we did that, we wouldn't be able to get the good deals. And people just weren't connecting the dots. So what we did is, you can't see it on this screen, but on the city page, the initial screen that you see, if you're in one of our cities, if you scroll down, it says, why only 3 deals? And you tap that and it has a nice explanation that we're doing it for your benefit, to get you better deals and to save money, to save you money. When we did that change, our App Store rating, which was initially about a 3.5, went up to a 4.2 overnight. And we haven't had a single review saying, I wish there were more than 3 deals since then. People got it. So it was listening to the customer, figuring out what the real problem was, and then explaining it to them. So that's one of the things we did to improve our App Store rating, and that drove more engagement as well because people were understanding, and then they came back to the app day after day to see what the new deals were. And the second important thing we did to improve our App Store rating was we identified our best customers. When somebody books a hotel, we ask them how their stay was and what they thought about using Hotel Tonight, and they give us a rating from 1 to 10. Our average there is very high, but there are some people that didn't have a good experience for whatever reason. So for those people that we don't, what's important here is the germane is the people that had a 10 score. We ask them to share their experience with others on the App Store, and whether that's the App Store, the iOS App Store, or the Amazon App Store, or the Android Market, and that's been incredibly successful for us in driving up our App Store rating. It's a lot of work. That's what a lot of the support team does when they're not answering the phones. It's a 24-hour job for the support team, or that we have staff that works 24/7. They don't get a lot of calls at 3 in the morning, but it's that point in time when they're contacting and identifying our best customers, our rabid fans, and asking for them to come and give us a review. Again, a lot of work, but the payoff is there, and we've had by far the highest rating in the App Store in the travel category of any of the other hotel booking apps.
Awesome. Attention to detail. Yes. Okay, Ranjith, you guys, you've done this, if you send it, and I certainly see parallels between that and how you think about user experience here for PunchTab. So what are some of your thoughts here?
Yeah, I think when I started out talking about what we're doing at PunchTab, I really break down developing applications for mobile. A lot of people talk about user experience and UI and that kind of thing, but for me it always went back to the core use case. What can you do on the go? This is especially true at UCSF, where we were already tens of millions of users delivering large documents and things, and creating large documents on the go and using the desktop. And of course, everyone at the company was saying we should move this to mobile, and that the first use case should be send large documents from the phone. And back then, that just was not a use case that existed. So I insisted that the first one should be more related to another line of product that we have is on tracking. So here's something that you can use on the go. If you're waiting in line, if you're waiting for a friend, if you're driving your car, you can pull out your phone and track. Did the document that I send get to the person that I wanted to? Did the document get signed? And that was the core use case. And really the first application that we created there, very stripped down user interface, and didn't give them a lot of things to do. It was within 1 click you could track all your documents. And overnight we saw our tracking activity go triple, basically. And the interesting thing was we had the tracking functionality for delivering documents. and tracking them around for many years, but nobody used it on the weekends. As soon as we pushed out a mobile application, it was higher on the weekends than it was on the weekdays, just because you could do it. So a lot of what I learned about the mobile market was really hone in on the core use case. Don't be fooled that many of the things that you're doing online can be done on the go or should be done on the go. That's come full circle, I think, now that with the more powerful devices and higher resolutions and things like that, you can still do a lot more. But I think people's attention spans on mobile applications are different than they are online. So that was a lot of the major learnings about that we baked into the mechanics of how PunchTab is rolled out on mobile applications.
Ted, can you give us just a couple examples, like as you think about like really great examples inside the Nook App Store where folks have just got it from the developer side and just really understand that core user experience and aren't necessarily the angry birds out there?
Yeah, one of the interesting apps that no one on our team saw coming in popularity is an application called Drawing Pad. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's basically a drawer of pencils and markers and stickers and color with your finger. The odd thing is that given our device demographic, a lot of these are typically carried around and used as handbag devices for kids. So a mom will load the app, will put it into the coloring book, and then pass it back to the child in the car seat, and the child will do it during the car ride. And we never thought that would be a use case for A, our device, B, that the app would sell really well. The app developer, shortly after the first 2 months, sent our apps team a box of printed paper pads that looked like Nooks. Now, this is a third-party app developer sending us Nook marketing tablet pads that had his app on it, because he was making $85,000 a month and having a really great time.
On a drawing app?
Yeah.
For kids?
For kids. It's different, and I think that's the thing that I hope everyone would walk away. The customer that's behind and attached to the device, they span so many different demographics, culture, use, and how they use a device. And every device is absolutely different. Readers are fundamentally different. Like a reader device is fundamentally different than a tablet. This is more a content consumption device than a content creation device. And it's definitely not a mobile device in terms of I'm not doing interaction and the screen size doesn't limit input. So just think about the consumer that's actually behind the glass and know your audience.
Cool, okay, and just one last question before we open it up for the audience here. So I definitely want to touch on loyalty, keeping your users coming back. You've built that great experience. Just any of you guys can sort of take this one and run with it. I certainly think, Ranjith, given your line of business here, that you could probably kick us off here. But talk about the dynamics of loyalty and like some of the principles that you employ, especially with your customers that you're talking about, and then we'll open it up to the rest of the group here for any questions.
Yeah, sure. I think the dirty secret of the loyalty industry is you can't build loyalty out of nothing. I mean, everything we've talked about today, from the customer service to the experience of the use case to the distribution vehicles, those are fundamentals. You need to get through that. And if you think you're at a point where you've got a great product that a core set of users like, then that's when you can engage loyalty mechanics to either help spread the word or repeat usage. And people just won't use things that are bad applications. It doesn't matter how many loyalty programs you layer on top of them. So most of our success has come from teaching our publishers and our app developers, hey, you've got a great product, you're just not reaching enough people, or the right people are keeping them coming back. And a lot of the loyalty mechanics that we have, you can earn virtual currency or you can earn credits or whatnot passively. So over time, it becomes more of a habit to say, wow, I've got lots of options of using this drawing pad or that drawing pad. Why should I go back to the one that has that mechanic in it? It's because you passively got some skin in the game now over time, and you can see kind of the aspirational goals, like the Hawaiian vacation or whatnot that you can earn up to. The other things that we've learned a lot about are, and marketeers these days are hot and heavy on, is incentive-based marketing. It's not the same world anymore. There's so much noise that there's a whole school of thought that any marketing program should have some sort of incentivized mechanic in there, and we've seen a lot of success in, especially one I can think of is I believe it was an Android app. It was a ebook, e-reader or ebook store, or something content related. I can't remember exactly, but they launched to a very small mailing list of people that they had from their online store, and in 30 days they went from 0 Facebook fans and Twitter followers to 10,000. They doubled the rate at which content was being bought on their new store and on their new application. So this was just an example of taking a good user experience and combining it with incentive-based marketing to get the consumer to get some skin in the game, and the numbers speak for themselves. But like I said, there's no magic behind it. It starts with fundamentals. It has to start with core user experience and a quality application. Spend most of your time there. Let us help you turbocharge it. Is kind of what I would say.
Cool. Okay. Anybody else want to add on that one, or we'll open it up to the audience here? No? All right. Questions from the audience here for the panelists. Anybody have any questions out there? Yes, down in front.
Yeah, one question for hotel tonight. What do you do when you want to grow the business and you've got more demanding capacity in the large place?
Yeah, great question. Scale.
Yeah, so we've actually split the market up in certain cities. So in San Francisco, you'll find 6 hotel deals in Union Square, and then outside of Union Square in New York, you'll find uptown, midtown, downtown. So as liquidity increases in a market, we'll add more capacity. But we want to make sure that when a hotel puts up their deal, we can sell a couple of floors of rooms for them. And we only do that when there's liquidity.
Cool. Great question. Yep, in the back.
Thanks. This is a little more of a question on, sorry, interference, but I have an Android phone, and one of the most annoying things for me is when you download an app and you can't move it to the SD card. This is getting more on the tech side of things. I was just curious with your, experience, if you've changed that setting, seen an uptick. I assume you've seen an uptick, and also kind of the other thing you mentioned before was version control. Especially with Android phones, and a lot of Android phones now are starting to come out in the prepaid market, so they don't have as much computing power as the postpaid Android phones that have the latest and greatest. Point is that we're starting to go into this kind of the way PCs used to be, right? The processing speed, how much space they have, that sort of thing.
Anybody want to take that SD card? Kind of a little niche question.
When we launched our Android app, we did not support that, and we had some reviews that were very mad about that, so we added that support within a few days. But we did support it, and device fragmentation is a huge pain for our developers on Android. We choose a common denominator, and we work really hard to make that available to as broad a population as possible, but still have the performance that people expect when they hear about Hotel Tonight. So there's a balance there, and that means that some people won't be able to access Hotel Tonight, but we'd rather them not be able to access Hotel Tonight than not be able to use it once they install it.
All right, we'll take a couple more questions. Got one in the back?
Yeah, my question is for Ted about Nook developer framework. Like, what's the language you're supposed to know to make apps for Nook? And the other question is, what are the most successful apps on Nook? I mean, obviously, probably it's games, but like, besides games, what are the top-selling apps, paid apps, and what is the the price they're going at? What's a good price?
So when 2 years ago, when we started building devices, we used Android 1.6 to build our first reader. We then updated and shipped Nook Color. Nook Color runs Android. It's Android 2.1. It originally shipped as 2.1, and then basically we upgraded it to 2.2. This device is running Android Gingerbread, but all of our releases are done from the open source version of Android. There are two distinct branches of Android that one needs to understand. One is the Google controlled and distributed Android under the Open Screen Handset Alliance. The other is the Google or Android open source project. We take code from the open source Android project and basically build Nook as an operating system. One of the things we've had to do is, because of our device demographic, we've had to simplify a lot of the Androidisms out of our OS to make it really, really easy to use. And we've had to think about what does the single button, eliminate some of the hard keys, make it really easy for a consumer to get into the device, to purchase a book, remove any UI that can get in their way or cause confusion in settings. Android has a very deep tree on the settings branch. How do you simplify that down so it's just enough so a consumer doesn't get confused and erase their device or do something like that? So you can actually build our apps for this device using the entire ecosystem of Android tools. Specifically, Appcelerator is supported on our device. The Android SDK, the Android NDK, there are a whole class of third-party frameworks that you can actually to build a compliant APK. The only thing you have to do is actually specify the Android version, either 2.2 for Nook Color or 2.3.3 for Nook Tablet. And the follow-up question was really what popular apps. Angry Birds is a massive seller. We really thought, we're going to see content-centric apps and reading-centric apps take off, but consumers kind of blindsided us with they wanted games. They wanted to turn off the reading experience and play games casually, and so they wanted to flip between reading and the imagination side into I want to throw birds at buildings and enjoy things. So it kind of it goes all over the place, but the best advice is to actually walk into a physical Barnes & Noble store. The content that is in the physical store is extremely well organized in placement, in volume, in quantity. What's in store is in store because it sells and it fits the consumer demographic that owns these devices. It's a very good way to basically reverse engineer the demographic or content that we're looking for on the device.
All right, and the last question here. One more.
I have a question for hotels tonight. Where you started as a small team before your Series A funding, did you build your own sales force and then went to all the hotels? Or, how to build such a massive number of hotels requires a lot of man hours and sales force. Starting out small and building up that team, how did you manage to do that?
You're getting all the scalability questions here, Sam. So.
Yeah, one is that this is a third-time entrepreneur, so I'm a glutton for punishment. So I like to do things the hard way. But there's a couple reasons for us working directly with the hotels as part of your question. One is that we wanted to get a unique price for those hotels, or from those hotels. We wanted unique deals. And I think this is important as you think about what you build in an app. So we could build a very pretty container, but if we put the same prices in the same hotels and the same content in there as you could find other places, we wouldn't have a very good usage. There's an app out there called Stay Hip, which is a fine-looking app, but you can buy the same things there as you can buy anywhere else, and nobody uses it. People love us because they can find something unique. They can save a buck or two more than they can get anywhere else. The other is that we were delivering the reservations we are delivering the reservations to the hotels directly. That's the only way we can do 2 a.m. Reservations or reservations until 2 a.m. So we knew that we needed these direct relationships. Plus, the strategic is that we're building up a network effect between us and these hotels. So there's a strategic barrier to entry there. So we knew we had to do it. There was one guy on it. He worked the phones. He went to New York. He flew to Chicago. And he made it happen. We had a target list, and we started at the top, and we worked our way down, and we weren't satisfied until we signed them all up. And then we hired very smartly and hired great people. But it all started with a great app, and we sort of rode the wave of the excitement of apps, and we had an app that was made for mobile and all this great goodness. The main hotel's really excited to work with us. I think last point on it is that we got one hotel, the Ace Hotel, came on very early. They were the sort of the representative hotel for our brand. They're a very hip, cool hotel, internet focused in terms of their branding and the lobby that they have. It's a great place to go hang out and get work done if you're in New York. So once they fell and they signed up, then the rest we're comfortable with signing up to.
Reference-based selling. Okay, I think that's going to be it here. We've got, I understand, where's Mario? Mario here. Okay, great. All right, so we're going to have some lightning talks, but I'd like to thank our panelists for this evening. So thank you guys. Learned something useful and that you can take away when you're building your business. Feel free to talk to any of our panelists here later this afternoon or this evening. And thanks very much for attending. Thanks.
Awesome, Scott. Thanks, guys. Give a hand to Scott and the panelists. This is awesome. This is announcement time. So I'll take like the next 10 people who have 60-second announcements. If you guys are interested in making, hey, I'm looking for work. There's an event coming up. It's pretty much open mic for 60 seconds. So if you have some announcements to make, come on up over here. Go ahead.
So I'm organizing a panel on cybersecurity, and that will be November 15th at Stanford, and it's under vlab.org. So vlab.org. Go look it up, and if you're interested in cybersecurity, I think you'll have a very compelling evening. Thanks.
Johan Huber from Macy's.com. We also do Bloomingdale's.com. Currently working on some projects right now related to our affiliate strategy, and I've been working on our mobile strategy as well, looking to connect with developers. One of the things that we're exploring is new ways to use our product data feeds. So if you could think, if you had access to inventory and pricing and product information from a store like Macy's or Bloomingdale's, what would you do with it? So I'm certainly open to hearing some ideas, and obviously we have some meetings with a couple folks throughout the next coming weeks. Jessica.
Good evening, my name is Ronald Fox. My organization is humentors.com Incorporated. We do nonprofit research organization, scientific research, educational charitable. We're focusing right now on investing in young and youth, high school seniors, so we're going to be hosting teen hackathons. So looking to connect with developers that are willing to travel with youth to competitions in different states. So we'll be underwriting the funding for that. So again, if you are interested in working with youth to inspire them to become app developers and statisticians, data scientists, and so on, I look forward to speaking with you. Thank you.
Hey guys, how's it going? I'm an engineer. Just launched a mobile app. It's on it's in the App Store. It's called Local Uncle. It can help you find what's going on right now, real time. It went live on Monday. You can ask questions like, hey, how long is the line at the bar? Or where can I get a great sandwich for lunch? So give it a shot. Thanks. It's called Local Uncle, and it was made in New York.
Hi guys, my name is David. I come from Vanilla Breeze from Korea. We built about 150 apps over the past 3 years with about 60 million unique downloads. We kind of transitioned out from app development to game development now, so we have a lot of new exciting games coming up by the end of the year. And we need some partners who can help us promote our apps in the North American market. We have some casual games, puzzle games, action games coming up. So if you are in the field of marketing, PR, those type of areas, please feel free to contact me. Thanks. VanillaBreeze.com. David at vanillabreeze.com. Yeah.
Hey, my name is Daniel, and I'm founder and CEO of Questly. We raised a bunch of money at Money Place Switzerland, and we are just launching the app. It hasn't been announced yet. We've been to TechCrunch Disrupt, won the Audience Choice Award, So, and we already have the app on the App Store. Announcement is coming like next week or this week. I just want to throw it out and to hear some thoughts on that. If you would like to go to the App Store and download it, it's Quest LI. You can just type the whole thing and you will see the app. It's treasure hunting games in real life. You can also earn money by using it. So it's pretty cool. And we also look for biz devs guys in the Bay Area. So if you one of those, ping me on Twitter. My name is Daniel K8 on Twitter, and the app is Quest LI. See ya.
I asked Siri to find me some developers and biz dev guys, so they told me to come here. Basically, I'm working on an app called Go Society with 2 other founders. We are trying to create engaging social experiences, kind of fill the gap where LinkedIn, Meetup, Yelp, and Foursquare kind of, we found some spaces there that we think our app can fill that gap. Anyway, I have a raw demo I can show people, but basically looking for biz dev and iOS engineers. I'm kind of leading this server side. It's like any early stage startup, it's going to be an equity only type position until obviously we secure a round of funding. You can find me, I'll be around here for another 20 minutes or so, and I can show you.
Yeah, I guess if you want to go to the bar right out here, and then you can find them there at the bar. So the bars are still open, folks. Also, on the registration table on your way out, we had a bunch of iPhone chargers left over from a previous event. There's about 100 out there. They're free. Take one home, give it to your friends. Mike, do you have anything? Announcements? Okay. Anyway, thanks, folks. You're free to mingle for another hour. Thanks, guys.